Let's say hello to Ricci Guarnaccio.
What people saw on TV was just a snippet of how bad it actually was, because I mean, for the public, it's got to be sort of, tamed down slightly. But I mean, I was going and going and going. I would get taken to a room, there'd be security there, they'd chill out, and I'd be like, woof, I'd be gone again. I wanted to kill them that night.
Why did you leave? Or because you
didn't leave, I got kicked off.
Really?
Yeah, 100% I got kicked off. It was really, 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 really toxic as well. Like, it was, everyone saw how it played out on TV, but behind the scenes it was 10 times worse.
Wow.
Like the arguments and the kick-offs and certain things.
Do you keep in touch? Do you have any relationship with her now, like a friendship or anything?
No.
And I believe you may have been romantically linked.
Yeah.
Is there any truth? So hello and welcome to the Lewis Nichols Show. I'm excited to bring on my next guest, who's a good friend. We are a little bit worse for wear because we went out last night. But let's say hello to Ricci Guarnaccio. Thank you for coming on and coming
Appreciate having me on.
All the way from Newcastle or Durham to Cheltenham. How are you feeling?
A little bit rough, but we'll get through it.
Well, this interview is going to be different to what we've done before. We normally talk about your current projects. We're actually going to do a whole life stories with you today and kind of explore you a little bit deeper. So I want to go back to the beginning for you, really, which is your childhood, which is kind of like when you were growing up. Obviously, you're a reality TV star, DJ, but what were your ambitions when you were growing up? Like, what was your career kind of choices that you wanted to pursue?
When I was young, I was pretty spoiled, silver spoon fed, and I was just obsessed with sport. Like, I was obsessed with rugby, not really football, but just playing rugby, cricket a lot, and squash and that kind of stuff. So being ambitious when I was a kid, I didn't really have ambitions apart from just wanting to play sport all the time. Ended up going into hairdressing at a very young age as well, because my parents are both hairdressers, and sort of followed myself down to London and trained with Tony Mascolo down in London. Wow. But yeah, it was not really any ambitions really.
And what about your relationship with your family? Were you close growing up? Because I know yesterday you were talking about your mum and you said like she's like one of the lads and like she likes to come out drinking with you and stuff. So do you have a close-knit family? Me
and mum are really tight.
Yeah.
She's one of the lads as well. So when I was growing up, we'd always have, I'd always have all my mates over. We'd always go out, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, and have all the lads back. And mum and dad are pretty chilled really, so yeah. And
did you go to uni or college? Was there something that you studied, like in regards to thinking that's going to be your path?
No, not really. When I went down to London when I was 17-year-old, they bought me an apartment down there, and
wow,
yeah.
You were silver spoon.
Yeah, massively. But I absolutely loved hairdressing when I was down there. And being that young when I was down there, I was kind of easily led, going out all the time and not really looking after myself. So I came back up here when I was about 19 and got a job in Newcastle, hairdressing. And really, I left school really early. And to be honest with you, I wish I stayed in school. I absolutely loved it. I loved playing rugby with all the lads, going on away trips, and the academic side wasn't too bright. But yeah, it was just a sport thing for me, going to the nationals with all the lads and enjoying myself.
Well, I want to move over now to, of course, where I think it's about 10 years ago, your life changed. Obviously, when we heard the words, got the looks, got the charm, it just works. You're very, looking back now, your cringe Geordie Shore intro. Yeah. But your life changed. I mean, that show was huge. It was one of the biggest reality shows. What was that like for you in the sense of being unknown, and then you're catapulted into fame on almost overnight? And it was at the time when social media was getting big, Twitter. You know, everyone had an opinion. How did you deal with that?
Then really as well. Yeah, it was insane, mate. To be honest with you, I don't think any of us realised how big the show was going to go and the levels that it's gone to still, because it's still going. But insane, going to airports in Ireland and Australia and kids being there and having shot glasses for you and having different things for you. It's absolutely crazy. It's mental because with how big the show's got, we obviously got our show from Geordie Shore, and I mean that was huge. But no one expected Geordie to do the heights that's done and surpass it really. Yeah. And still to be going to this day as well. I mean, I think it's in its 24th or 25th series. So, but yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely mind blowing.
How did you get on that though? Were you like approached? Because I always hear stories that people approach people in clubs.
Yeah.
How did it work with you?
I was a topless host in the club. You know, have my top off. You
love that.
So, the manager came up to me. We saw Ricky, the MTV are looking for new people. They're doing a new TV show called they want to do Geordie Shore. It's like Jersey, and I was like, really? I said, yeah, 100%. So I went over for the interviews. I remember going to juries in, and me and James were passing each other when he was going when he was coming out and I was going in. But yeah, I went in for the interview and then didn't get a call back. And then for the second series, I think it was just after they went to Magaluf, I got a phone call saying, "Oh, are you still keen for going on the show?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, 100%." Up and down from London that week, I was on the show, signing contracts. It was crazy.
It's crazy to watch because they just like fuel you with alcohol. And I mean, some of the alcohol that you guys were consuming was just crazy amounts. And we were seeing people peeing in the sink, like being sick. It was a crazy thing to have on TV. Were there ever times when you watched it back and thought, I wish that didn't happen? Or
if I watched our TV show, I'd be like, scumbags, absolute disgrace for the lot of them. But I think that's what everyone loved about us as well, because it was just what everyone does, going out on weekends, and obviously it's like fly on the wall TV. But we used to get bottles on a night out and just drink, huge arguments, kick-offs, as everyone saw. But that's what made the show, because it was real. There was no set-up scenes, and it was just what you saw is what you got. And I think people really sort of resonated with the relationships in the house when it came to me and Vicky, or the Gaz and Charlotte thing, or the James and Holly. Sort of everyone had their own sort of like, persona really in the house.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people really took well to. As much as we got a lot of hate, we got a lot of love as well.
Well, I mean, talking of Vicky, obviously I can't do an interview because everybody watching is going to want to know about it. Yeah. It was an explosive relationship. I mean, at times there was a lot of love, but it was real toxic. I mean, we've seen clips on the other shows that you've done, and it was explosive's the only word. What was it? How did you and Vicky first of all get together?
I'll take it back a little bit. So I didn't realise. Do you remember BB pins?
No.
We're Blackberries. No? Am I really showing my age?
I don't remember that.
You're nodding with me. You understand? Yeah.
Okay, right.
Right. So yes. So I was when I was working in Tup Tup, one of the clubs, when I was topless hosting.
Yeah.
She was out, and I actually got a BB pin well before the show. I didn't realise this. I completely forgot. And then when I went in the house, she reminded me. I was like, "Oh damn! I got your BB pin." But instantly, as soon as I walked in, mate, we took a liking to each other straight away. Like straight away. Top was coming up, she looked at the six-pack, she loved it, but it was kind of, I think because we sort of knew each other outside the house briefly. Yeah. She was like, I knew you were coming in, so yeah, just that instant connection. But that being said, I mean, it was really, 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 really toxic as well. Like it was, everyone saw how it played out on TV, but behind the scenes it was 10 times worse.
Wow.
Like the arguments and the kick-offs and certain things that went on when the cameras weren't on. And when we're out as well in different clubs, it was just, mate, it was hell.
Did the fact that your relationship was so public, because it was in every newspaper, magazine, social media, everyone had an opinion, did that ruin the relationship, the fact that everybody else was involved, essentially, or was it just you two?
No, just us two.
Yeah.
You can't, I honestly couldn't have blamed anyone else for what we were like. We both wanted, and we're both, when it comes to an argument, pretty bad, to be honest with both of us. And I always want the last word, and she always wanted the last word. But being in the house when it's like a pressure cooker, so all the cameras on you 24/7, you're drinking all the time, you're not getting fed properly, you're not getting as much sleep. So when you're in the third, fourth week of filming, of being deprived of sleep, not having the right foods, and just drinking, obviously you're going to be arguing a lot more as well. And everyone saw that in Cancun and every other show.
What do you keep in touch? Do you have any relationship with her now, like a friendship or anything? No. If she was in here now, would you have food or a chat?
I could have a civil conversation with her now, because I've got that past that point of the hatred and the desire to sort of really dislike her.
Yeah.
We went back and forth, and it wasn't all her, it was me as well. It was when I went into Big Brother of the slating us and selling stories, which I get. It's part of the process, and it's part of what we are. I'm not going to sit here and slag it, because I mean we all do it.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean going back to Geordie, it's kind of being there. I felt like it was ruining everyone else's time as well, because we argued 24/7, like relentlessly. It would just, we'd be in a taxi and we'd just kick off, and be in the club. I would say something wrong, or she would say something wrong, and then I would go, or she would go. And it was just, it was really bad. But pretty much everyone guessed, either loved it watching the show, because they're going to kick off, or they hate it, be like, they're going to kick off again.
Yeah. Talking about kicking off, one of the biggest moments, and I'm sure you'll agree, was your fight with Gaz. I mean, that was, again, explosive on TV. How did that come about? Did you two just rub each other up the wrong way at that time? Because when I watched that, and you watch it back now, it was full on. I mean, you all had to be split up. It was crazy.
Yeah, we both got fined 10 grand for that as well each.
Really?
Yeah, cameras flying all over the place, yeah. So my mate came from Leeds and he necked on with Charlotte. And he headbutted it or did something in the toilet and then went out. And that's why I launched the can off it or bottle off his back or whatever, and then it all just went off. But yeah, that night I can remember it vividly, and it went on for hours, like hours.
Yeah.
And what people saw on TV was just a snippet of how bad it actually was. Because I mean, for the public, it's got to be sort of tamed down slightly. But I mean, I was going and going and going. I would get taken to a room, there'd be security there, they'd chill out, and I'd be boom, I'd be gone again. I wanted to kill him that night. But people fall out in the house, and we all make friends the next day, and it's forgotten about, and people say sorry and stuff. But that was probably the biggest fight that's been in Geordie Shore. Not fight in essence, because we weren't like scrapping in a sense of smacking each other all over the place. But how long it went on for, cameras and people that were involved as well. It was kind of like people trying to dive in front of him, in front of me, and yeah.
Do you keep in touch with Gaz now?
No.
Fair. Well, I do want to. Jay and James
Do
were
I
like
not
your
comment for that one?
No. Jay and James were your like brothers, and
Yeah.
you had the best friendship. And what was nice is you brought the fun to the show. People could relate to you. So, and I know you're still like best friends now with Jay and James.
Yeah,
aren't you?
Jay's my best mate. Literally see him every single day. Speak to him every single day. Speak to James all the time as well. We go to the gym together. But it's I feel like with us three together as well, there's no one trying to be someone that they're not, or trying to be the leader of a group, or trying to be saying this and saying that to try and be big and clever, which you find a lot in reality TV as well. People change the persona of who they actually are instead of being the self, and you get that when it comes to filming as well. But in regards to us three, it's pretty chill, mate. Yeah. We're all really chill, level-headed now, and I'm probably the most outgoing and probably the craziest one out of the three.
I mean, we're going to talk a lot more about Geordie Shore coming up, but why did you leave? Or because you
didn't leave, I got kicked off.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I got kicked off. They make it look like you leave. But I'll be honest with you right now. Yeah, I got kicked off, and I'm glad that it happened. And I wasn't happy at the time, but everything that came after it, how it worked out, and domino affected for us for TV shows and everything that's worked out perfectly for me in regards to what went on the show. I don't regret nothing. As much as I hated my time in there at the time, I'm appreciative of now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, from one explosive reality TV show, I want to talk about X on the Beach. I was gripped to the show, the whole concept. But when you got out of the sea, Vicky sees you and chucks a drink on you, and that was, did you expect her to react like that? Did you know?
It was pointless, so I just got the water. I was out and wet anyway. You just took a drink over me, I'm wet. But she was about to glass me. I think one of the producers had to take a glass of her.
Wow.
She was literally about to glasses, but she got herself that wound up where it was kind of like, I was like, oh, fuck's sake.
Did you know that was coming though? Like,
no, man, not a chance. Like, I got told it was called the Summer of Love. No way I would have went over there if I knew she was going to do it. But MTV sold the dream to me of being like, right, sweet. So, single again, want Ricci for a brand new single TV show, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, sweet. Manager sold me it. I was like, yes, sweet, get me there. I sat on that beach for about 6 hours. I had sunstroke because I was in the sun all day. I was absolutely burned, and I tan really well. So by the time I was swimming down, I was like, I just can't wait to get in there and have a drink and chill out. But it was complete opposite, mate. When I went on the beach, like I said, it was timid because she was wanting to smash my face in. And it was just really awkward getting there because obviously I knew fine well she'd obviously been in there and sort of built relationships up and built friendships up and that kind of stuff as well. So, yeah, it was tough.
What I loved about that is they kept teasing us with your arrival.
To love about it, Lou.
No, so I did though, because we were waiting for your arrival because it kept saying coming up, and it would show a little clip of you, and that was it.
And
that went on for weeks, and I believe you said it was one of the most watched episodes on MTV.
Yeah, the episode that I walked out on was the highest ever rated episode from a first series of an MTV program ever.
Wow.
Ever. But they did promo it and market it to absolute fuck. I was touring Australia at the time, so my Twitter was going nuts. when you coming, when you coming, when you coming. And the episode I walked out on, I was trending 1 worldwide.
Wow.
It was just nuts. It was crazy.
And because you were told at the time, people hate you in the house, you're not going to make any friends, but it was actually the opposite. People took to you, and I remember you had that confrontation with Liam, who was kind of stirring the pot a little bit, and people fell in love with you in the villa because you kind of said what everybody was thinking.
Yeah.
So did you feel a little bit more settled when you started to make your own friendships and realise that actually you weren't the villain and that people did like you?
It's not that I wasn't settled, it's just I couldn't be chewed with fucking arguing with her relentlessly again. I'd just done 4 series of Geordie Shore where I pretty much argued day in, day out, and then outside the house for 1.5 years with my girlfriend at the time. So I didn't want to go back into another TV show and do that. I was chilled about being there, mate. All I wanted to do was knock on with birds and pull birds. That's all I wanted to do. But that being said, walking into the house when all the lads are sat there and you've got to sort of say hi, and some of them aren't going to like you. Some of them have already built up a sort of an idea of what you like, because she's been in there and telling people, oh, he's like this, he's like that. But in regards to TV shows, mate, I can carry myself. I don't mind going in there last in the house or first. It doesn't really bother us.
Do you know what I love? We've got to talk about it. It's one of my favourite shows, Celebrity Big Brother. Absolutely love it. And the time you went on Celebrity Big Brother, it featured reality stars because they wanted arguments. They wanted that kind of drama. When they asked you, because I know you got a lot of money for it, it's a well-paid show, we all know that. So when they approached you and said, look, do you want to do Celebrity Big Brother, were you ever hesitant, or were you just like, yeah, give me the money?
Hell no, give me that money, definitely. It was good because when I got sacked from Geordie, I'd already have pre-conversations with my manager about doing Big Bro. So when I left, I was a little bit more at ease with leaving. And I knew Charlotte was doing the summer one, and about a month and a half later, I signed the contract to do Big Brother. So I had to wait for over a year. I literally waited 1.25 years to do the show. So I already knew that was coming. But obviously I did X just before that as well, which worked out really nice.
And tell us that feeling of walking through the crowd and going into it, because you don't know who's going to be there. I mean, I know there's speculation in the press who might be, but it's never confirmed. So you walk through the doors and then you see who's there. So go back to that time, and what was it like walking through the crowd, hearing the reaction? Because it was mixed. And you definitely got cheered coming out.
Lou. Cheers, Lou. You know, to sell it to the people that, you know, that was loved.
What was it like, though, for you, that feeling walking in?
Loved it. Mate, I loved all the attention on me. I love the cameras, love all that. People screaming, people booing, people whatever. I love it all. I love it. I don't mind it. I was a villain in Geordie Shore, and I soaked that out really well. I've got thick skin. And we all know what the villains get and that kind of stuff. But I don't feel like I was the villain going in there. I feel like I was, I mean, even on the eviction night, you could hear all the screams for us, and everyone was like, yeah, you're going to be staying again. You're going to be staying again, because you hear all the girls screaming. But it was crazy doing Big Brother, because something that you've watched doing the diary room as well, going to the diary room, I'm just sitting there, I was like, oh, sitting in that massive chair and doing it. It was just crazy. It was tough doing it in regards to boredom, but it was enjoyable through the people I met. Dee and David, 2 of my best friends, absolutely loved Dee. White Dee, as people know her, more than anything. And David McIntosh is one of my best mates. I mean, when we're together, there's no better combo in this entire world. You say it was boring. Now, people would find that difficult to believe, in the sense of we have always kind of known that they fuel you with alcohol. 3 rooms to go between, with the sky to look at every day, with planes to look at what's going over, with the same 12 people or whatever, having the same conversations. And then you've got 1 hour of activities or whatever they make you do, prancing around doing dance-offs or whatever. It's a really tough show to do. I was 27 at the time, and being a 27-year-old party boy that just wants to go out and pull birds, it's kind of like you're locked in, and it's kind of like, oh, well, I've got nothing to do, and you're literally left with the people in the house with you. Well, you did pull birds, as you say, in there. I mean, with Towie's Lauren, I mean, I remember there was a kiss and stuff there. So were you attracted to Lauren from the outset? Yeah, Lauren, I really liked her when I first went in. We'd slightly known each other beforehand. I'd heard that she was going in as well. But yeah, we got on really well in the house. I mean, she was lovely. After you left the house, did you get close? No comment. All right, I know the answer to that one. I want to go through some of the housemates, because you were in there with some characters, and one of the biggest arguments in Big Brother, of course, is Frenchie and Leslie. Yeah. Now, Leslie, people know from Will and Grace. Frenchie, I believe, works in modelling.
Am I right in saying that? Porn?
Pornhub.
Right, so she's famous for that. And them two went at it. I mean, she was cutting up his shorts. He called her a stinking... Right, it was awful.
Mate, Americans, that's why it's so good having them on the show, because it's so dramatic. Like, yeah, man, like proper, like, yeah, crazy. They're so dramatic when they're having an argument where us people in the UK, we'll have an argument, it's pretty chilled, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Or it goes off. But there's like... Yeah, the way that they are, they're flamboyant and very dramatic in the way that they do everything. And to be honest with you, it was nuts, because, I mean, we've got to have psychs. You've got to have a psych test before you go in the house, and I don't know how they passed the psych test, to be honest with you. They were pretty bonkers, like pretty crazy. What
was Leslie like, though? Because I love him. And he's like a viral star now. He does these videos and he gets millions of views. What was he like as a person? Because I felt like you two got on well.
Yeah, lovely. I got with Frenchie as well, to be honest with you. But...
Did she ever contact you afterwards?
No comment.
You're not giving much here.
Yeah, sort of.
And of course, the show that was won by Gary Busey. Now, he is a huge Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
When he went in, people were shocked he was in the house. And for me, I was glad he won, because watching it, we only see an hour of footage for 24 hours. But I honestly felt like he was treated not very fairly. It's how it came across. It felt like people were moaning at him. What was he like to live with? Because I've spoke to so many people in that series, and they've all said he was difficult.
Tough. Really, 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 really tough. I know D, when we were in the house, he was saying that he had a car crash and then he had a few, he had a plate in his head, mental issues and that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, it came across. When we were in the house, 100%. Listen, by then I'd done reality TV for a long, long time. And seeing the way and what certain things that he did when he was in the house, he was pretty clever, the way he switched it on and switched it off. But he was sat there one night in his pyjamas and his jacket chilled, and we were all up for eviction. And I think it was Dee saying, Gary, you're not going to get changed in case you go out. And he said, no, it's in my contract that I'm here till the final. That didn't sit well with all of us, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So it was rigged for him to make the final no matter what?
That's what he said. I don't know whether that was the case, but that's what he said when we were in the house. But
and he was paid a hefty fee, wasn't he?
He said 500 grand. Yeah, I know, big bucks. But he was just really, really tough being in the house with him. He's very spiritual as well. So any conversation, it goes down a really deep, it goes really, really deep. And he thinks that he's lived 97 lives and that kind of stuff, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, really not my... I don't really understand it as well, mate, so...
And obviously, in Geordie Shore, though, we had an opinion on you. Like you said, you were the villain. But I felt Big Brother was a turning point where people saw the real you, because we saw it was 24 hours a day, and we just saw the real you. And when you left, you came out to way more cheers than what you went in. Did that make you feel? Do you know what? That's good. People actually seen the real me. I'm not a dick. Like, they saw you for who you are.
I'll go back to MTV. So, yeah, I really didn't like how they made me come across when I was on Geordie, because there was some good times, there was some funny moments, but I feel like because me and Vicky argued a hell of a lot, that's what was shown. Now sitting here, I'm very appreciative of MTV of doing that and showing all the arguments and showing me look like an absolute nutcase and all that, because it's all domino effective for the TV shows, because Big Brother, they wanted me for the arguing, they wanted me for the kick-offs, they wanted that, and I understand that, it's TV. They don't want people sitting there and being like, yeah, we're going to be chilled, we're not going to do anything, nothing's going to be dry. Like, people want to be entertained, and I'm an entertainer. So doing all them shows after, it's sort of domino effect is, to do well. So
one thing I do, because I've never actually understood or even spoke to you about, is you're really well known and big in Australia, and you've done lots of gigs, PAs and shows there. How are you so big there? How did that happen? Because that's just seems like a random place for a guy from Newcastle who's famous in the UK to suddenly go over and become famous.
Bonkers, mate. Absolutely crazy. Well, I think it goes out on 76 countries, around that anywhere, worldwide. So with how big the show went, I mean, Aussies love celebs from other countries or people that's on TV and that kind of stuff. But they just absolutely fucking love the show. Like, they go crazy for it. I was the first one to tour New Zealand as well. And I remember 2,500 people being in the club. And it was just, I was sat crowd surfing. The bouncers are flying all over the place. But they're just absolutely obsessed with the show. They absolutely adore it, like love it.
And how many PAs did you do in 1 year? You told me last night, was it like...
Yeah, 76.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's more than one a week.
It was a lot, mate. It was a lot. And when I was over there that year, so I did 76 PAs, I was filming with MTV Australia, MTV X After Dark. I had my own segment on Carl and Jackie, biggest radio station out there. I did a movie, Bo. So I was pretty fucking busy, mate, to be honest with you. And this is why I'm saying I'm appreciative of MTV now, because everything that happened back then has given me the opportunity to go and do what I've done.
Acting, that's a bit of a turning point now. How did that even come about?
Tough. So my management looks after Chris Sun, the director, who's amazing, by the way. And when I was over there touring with James, he was like, mate, I'd love to get you on a movie. I was like, yeah, but I've done no acting. He said, yeah, we'll get you an acting coach to do this, to do that. So I had 4 months of intense acting coaching, which I wouldn't want anyone to go through. So I remember walking in, and there was this older lady sat there, and I walked in, and I was like, all right, and having a bit of banter and messing around, and she kicked off. She went nuts at us. And from then, it was kind of like, oh, I had to focus and do it all, but it's facial expressions, it's how you act when you can't bounce off anyone, because I was in the scene by myself. But it was tough, mate, 4 months, but I was glad to see the end of it. And I remember I had my own like caravan to trailer thing. I was with management mucking around, and I had to walk quite a while through the bush, and then you come to this big open thing, and then there was cameras on cranes. There was about 80 people there, and I was thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? It's crazy. And I was like that when he said action as well. It was absolutely nuts.
Well, in part 2, we're going to talk more about, obviously, something big with Geordie Shore and your music career, so we'll come back in just a moment. So, Ricci, a lot of people now wouldn't actually probably realise that music is a massive part of your life. I mean, it was only yesterday you were showing me some of your new tracks, in regards to DJing. How long has that been something you've been really interested in?
That year, that had a really busy year from Australia. I sat down with management at the end of the year, and he was like, you can't continue to do PAs at that constant level of doing that many, because it butchered me, mate. Like, they're travelling, they're not eating properly, not training, because I had so much work going on. And I say that in a positive way, but it's the drinking in nightclubs. So doing a PA, you would turn up and you've got table, bottle of vodka, loads of cans of Red Bull, and then you'd be getting pissed for, 4, 5, 6 hours every single, and that was 3, 4 times a week. So at the end of that, it's kind of, at the end of that year, my manager was like, look, you can't continue to do this. What do you fancy doing? Like, do you have any hobbies? Blah, blah, blah. I was just like, yeah, I might give DJing a go. So I came back to the UK, spoke to a few of my DJ friends, bought the decks, bought the mixer, and yeah, just give it a go, mate. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Something that I've got a huge passion for. I've put a hell of a lot of time into doing it properly as well. In my basement for 2 years solidly, just practicing. But yeah, mate, I found a better job, really. I absolutely adore it.
And there's not meaning this in a rude way, but I interview people sometimes that have done something and then they try their hand at something else, and it's not always the best. And when you said, oh yeah, I'm going to be DJing, I didn't know what it would be like. And I listened, it's absolutely banging. Like, I was surprised in a sense of how quick you've managed to, I know you said you've put a lot of work in, but how quick you've managed to do it and how good the finished product is. Yeah.
It's train your ear and it's train your fingers. It's crazy because a lot of people that do DJing, bottom press the sync button, I wanted to do it properly and come into the business and really, really thrive in it and, show people I can do it, and I'm not just one of these reality TV stars that just want to use DJing as a next sort of money grab kind of thing. I absolutely adore DJing. There's nothing better than being in front of a crowd and playing your own music, and yeah, when it goes off, mate. And the best thing about it, you don't have to get pissed, which I love. Don't get us wrong, I still do. Yeah. But to the levels of what we were doing just purely off PAs. But mate, like I said, I mean, I'll do it forever and always. I absolutely love doing it. And yeah, it's playing your own music in front of the people and that as well, and see it go off, where it's kind of like, yeah, this is sick. You get goosebumps. It's class.
And tell us about Josh, because I know you work with
Yeah.
somebody called Josh. He's kind of helped you a lot as well, and I know you work closely. Who is he in that?
He's one of my best friends. So he's produced music and he's DJed for years and years and years. And I've just basically shadowed him the whole time for the past 4 or 5 years and just stuck to him like a sponge and learned everything on him, just watched everything that he's done. And he's helped me hugely. Like, I'll be forever, ever grateful for everything that he's done for us. Without him, I wouldn't be DJing and producing music. And I just love producing with him as well. We have that banter where we can sit there and we can do the tracks together, and I'll always make music with him, always.
And in regards to music, what's next now? Do you have like a plan for an EP, or like in regards to releases, where are you at with that?
Well, obviously, Gotta Let You Go got released on July the 15th. And yeah, obviously the 2 tracks I've just released while the show's been aired on Geordie as well. But at the minute, I don't know, mate, to be honest with you. Just have to wait and see.
We got to talk about, obviously, Geordie Shore, the reunion.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted that. They wanted everybody to come back together. When you were approached about this, what were your initial thoughts?
Fuck yeah, get me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money's good, as always, as everyone always likes. But going back in there and seeing everyone again, it's just, yeah, hell yeah. It gave me everything I've got. And, I mean, it's one of the best fucking reality TV shows in the entire world. So.
But why didn't Vicky or Gaz do it? Do you know the reason behind that? Because,
no. And to be honest, I don't care, mate, to be honest with you. I know everyone went on about it in the house. But, I mean, if everyone else made that sort of leap to go back in and do it for however long they were in there for. I mean, Greg came back for the reunion, for God's sake, for 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? They could have showed the faces and showed that respect to people. Like, do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm going to go see everyone. Shake everyone's hand, have a good time, however short that may be, and then go do the thing. But to us, when we're in there, it just looks like they're too big for the show.
Yeah.
Or too big, where it's kind of like, I've moved on with my career. We're all moving on with our careers. But that's what gave us our careers. So be thankful for it, and yeah.
How did you find meeting some people you weren't in the house with? So was there anybody that you weren't, during your time, that you met that you weren't quite a fan of?
Sorry, say that again.
So, like, during your time in the original series, did you see anybody that wasn't in with you at the time? So you met them almost for the first time on this?
Right.
And was there anybody you weren't a fan of, out the newbies as such?
Not really.
No.
This time round, I went in there with the mindset as well. I didn't want to argue.
Yeah.
And kick off. And just have fun. Literally just have fun.
You're all wiser as well. It's so different.
Yeah.
It's like, because we've watched you grow up on TV, and to see you all back in there and just, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it's just not, especially I think with your friendships that you've already got with, Jay and James, I think that comes across as authentic, and it's nice to watch.
Yeah, I mean, filming this time round was a bliss. It was unbelievable. Like, really enjoyed it, got along with everyone pretty much, had little bickers here and there, but nothing as strenuous as going to bed and thinking, oh, I've argued again, I've kicked off again, or whatever, really. It's the biggest and best series Geordie Shore's ever going to have. I'm thankful to Lime as well and MTV for giving the opportunity to come back. The crew were amazing. Like, welfare and that as well. I mean, everyone, we got along like mates, the whole lot of us. So they made our job a lot easier because it's tough. Me and Jay sat up till 5:30 in the morning getting pissed and still doing what we thought we were doing, 21-year-old, doing that every single night. It just takes its toll when you're over there we were over there for 7 days filming. It was a lot. But good though, really good. But the fucking villa was insane. It was like something like Love Islanders get, and with where this is going as well, and it's gone out in Paramount +1. In America, it's gone even more countries this time. I'm just thankful, mate, to be honest with you. And for whether Geordie happens again or whether it doesn't, at least I can feel if I don't go back in, I've left on a good note. Yeah. Because I think that's what was really sort of getting to us last time. I didn't leave on a good note, even though I've been fortunate and thankful to everything that's happened after. It's more of going back in, and I've just really enjoyed it. Being single and having loads of fun and necking on.
Well, it's good to get you back on TV. And this is random now, and I don't know if you're comfortable, but there's a very well-known actress by the name of Sheridan Smith, who I love, and I believe you may have been romantically linked
Yeah.
Is there any truth?
No comment. I'm joking. We crossed paths, yeah. That came out a while ago.
Cross paths in the sense of like walked down the street and said hi, or romantically?
I wouldn't say romantically, but yeah, like, I don't know what words you could really use apart from, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, she's lovely, really nice, really, really nice. And I don't know what else to really say.
You definitely have a lot of, because I mean, you just have to look at your name, and there's a lot of celebrities linked to you. Sally, I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lauren from Towie. Does that interest you? Because I suppose you work in the same industry in the sense of if you're a reality star like Lauren, you do have mutual ground. You understand the business, how it works. So I guess you're probably more drawn to people like that.
Yeah. You make me sound like a Casanova or like Gigolo or something like that. Yeah, obviously, being in the industry, you meet a lot of other celebs and people in the public eye, and you're gonna meet up and and date and whatever else. But yeah, no, cheers, mate.
Yeah, this is now the part of the interview. I know we've discussed a lot of what you're doing. I mean, you're going to be busy with the new releases. Obviously, Geordie's just gone out and it's huge.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you're working on that you can kind of tell us about for the rest of the year?
There's possibly a TV show. Next year, I'm doing another movie. I think it's a horror. Be with the same director as well. But with just a lot of gigs, mate, to be honest with you. For me, my main priority now is music. Like, it's something that I've got a huge passion for, and I've built as a skill as well now. And I absolutely adore it, mate. I love it. Producing music, DJing, I love the whole whack, really. And then reality TV, that's always going to be there for us because of what I've done and what I bring to a show as well. So that's always going to be there for us. But everyone else, I don't mind. If someone comes in, I'm pretty chilled with them, mate, to be honest with you. So,
not to cringe you out, but to finish the interview, can you do the well-known line that everybody remembers from you for Geordie Shore? You know your little intro bit? Yeah, I think you should.
I've got the looks, I've got the charm, and it just works.
Does that ever, when you look back now, you're like, oh my God, did you come up with it?
I did like 3. So what I wanted for mine was, I'm that fucking raging, I could be the cause of global warming. So, yeah. But they wanted it more like chilled and relaxed. They wanted to sort of, when I first went on MTV as well, they wanted me coming across nice. So yeah, they went with that one. Because I wanted, like, I could get knighted for being so good looking. Them kind of things, but yeah.
Wow, I was very, confident.
Yeah.
But do you know, it's great to actually have you on the show because we've done a lot of stuff over like Zoom, and you done we did a Celebrity Big Brother reunion with you, Kelly, and Dee. And we've done lots of stuff, but to actually do a full life story is good. And I know there's so much more to come. I mean, we were talking yesterday, and I know there's stuff you can't talk about yet until it's properly signed and agreed, but you're going to be very busy. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm loving life now. I really, really am. And it's just not having to wait for a reality TV show where I'm just going out, gigging here, gigging there, and I'm just traveling all over the place. And being single, it's kind of like, I just feel like, I don't know, a new lease of life. And yeah, the future's good, man. Looking forward to it.
Have a good summer.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate it again, mate.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap.